It's Cap. 30 years ago on this very day, a simple two-word fax not only changed the trajectory of Chicago sports history dramatically, but it changed sports history around the world forever. I was sitting in my office 30 years ago when this fax came in. Remember fax machines? And it simply said, "I'm back." But the backstory to the return of Michael Jordan to the Bulls was so much more. Yes, he had left basketball to go play pro baseball. But then we found out of secret practices that were going on between Michael Jordan and the Golden State Warriors. And the Golden State Warriors said, something's going on here because this guy looks like he is ready to take the league by storm yet again. On this day, 30 years ago, Michael Jordan said, "I'm back."
The reason why I'm smiling, I might get in trouble for this. Him and Rod Higgins are really, really good friends. He came and practiced with us 2 or 3 times in Oakland.
Michael came out to California to visit, which he would often do. You know, he would come out to California a lot, and he would come to visit, whether it was in the Bay Area. I would meet him in Southern California, and San Diego, LA, Santa Barbara, where he did his camp. He would come to my camp in Fresno, so he would come out to the West Coast quite often. And so this particular time, after he had been retired now for a while, I guess, and so this was 1990, like I said, 1994, I think it was November, it was football season. The 49ers were in season. Richard Dent, if I can recall this correctly, I think was a 49er at the time who happens to also be a close friend of Michael. So Michael comes out to the Bay Area and visits for a few days and just enjoying Northern California. So we were in season. Don Nelson was our coach with the Warriors. One morning while Michael was visiting, he calls and asks me, it was early in the morning, I was on my way because I was an assistant coach for Don Nelson. I was on my way to practice, and he called and said, "Do you think it's okay if I practice with you guys?" And then I said, "I don't think so, but let me call Nelly." That's what we call Don Nelson. "Let me call Nelly and I'll get back to you." So I called Nelly and asked Nelly if it's okay, if there's going to be any issues. Michael wants to know if he could practice with us. Nelly's response was, "Hell yeah." So I said, "Michael, sure, come on over." So he came over from San Francisco, met us in Oakland at the old Coliseum, I think it was, at that particular time before it became Oracle. And so he came in, and we dressed him out. Eric Housen dressed him out in Warrior gear. He might have gave him a number 23 if I'm not. I don't think anybody was wearing 23 at that time, but gave him his wristband to put on his elbow and things of that nature. And then we warm up, do some 3-on-2, 2-on-1 to get warmed up. And Nelly said, "Okay, let's go ahead and scrimmage."
Michael was very good friends with Rod Higgins, and he was out playing golf, I think, up in Napa. And I was injured at the time, so I do remember Michael coming down to practice, and we happened to take the same size. We're basically the same size, same sneaker size, and so he was out kind of, I think we had Tim Hardaway and maybe Latrell Sprewell at that point in time, and they might have been popping off a little bit, and Michael said, "Mully, let's go, give me your gear."
He came in and he ramped up the practice, and we had closed door practice in the Coliseum, and we knew he was coming back then. He just took over our practice. He just took over our practice. He got, the 5 guys that wasn't playing that much. It was like he never left.
The things that I remember was MJ really wanted to play against Hardaway and Sprewell, because Sprewell was like the new it, so to speak, in terms of the 2 guards. So, and I can't remember what the teams were, but I do remember certain parts about the scrimmage. Michael's guys won. Michael made sure he had Chris Mullen on his team, who was I think Chris was even rehabbing, so he wasn't even active at that point. Mully played with Michael. They had their little dream team handshake going on, whatever they had going on. And then I know Ronnie Cycli was on Mully and MJ's team. And then Sprewell and Hardaway played together with other players, which I don't know how those groups fared out. But once Michael got warmed up, you could tell his objective was to basically kick Spree and Tim's behind and talk trash to him, because he probably heard a little bit from me too in the background, like these guys got to play better together, yada yada yada. And I'm talking to him as a coach, talking to a friend, and now he's going to be part of my practice squad the next scrimmage. So that's what I recall. We had a good few days.
What I remember is him walking on the court after not playing, probably played 36 holes of golf the day before, and dominating. That's what I remember.
And we played, I want to say, after we practiced that day and he scrimmaged, we played the next day and we ended up losing that game. And Michael was just part of, like he was a Warrior for 48 hours.
Well, I was fortunate enough to have seen that up close and personal for several years on both ends of it, as a teammate in some instances and as an opponent. Much more pleasant being a teammate than an opponent to Michael Jordan. Yeah, but I think Michael he wanted to go out the best, youngest player who thought he was better than him. And now he put that to rest that day for sure.
I mean, I think it showed the trail what greatness is in terms of a guy who's been hitting the golf ball, traveling the world, and then he comes in out of shape and he gives it to you because he knew how to play. I think I heard BJ Armstrong. So BJ, I still talk to BJ to this day, and BJ had a good, I think he had mentioned somewhere in the media where Michael wanted to gauge the new it. So when Michael was thinking, when I come back, I want to see how I fare up against at least this guy, because I know I can practice against him. I go to the Bay, he came to the Bay and he basically measured Spree up. And did Spree learn something? I'm sure he did learn something. If you're playing against, one of the greatest to ever play, I would hope you learned a little bit.
How graceful he was, shooting step back jump shots, faking, dunking on people. He made that team that wasn't playing a lot showed the coach that they should be playing. So, we knew he was coming back. I knew at that particular time, I knew he was coming back then.
And that was before
he announced that he was coming back.
He was doing practice with the Bulls.
Before he was doing practice with the Bulls. He came down to Oakland, stayed with Rod Higgins at his house. He came in and he practiced. Actually, he practiced with us for about two or three practices.
He probably knew he could do it, and he probably wanted to deliver a message to Tim and Spree, like, you guys, you have all this talent, but Tim and Spree couldn't coexist at that point in time. They were, still young, and they were still trying to develop who they were as individual all-star caliber basketball players. And so it was a good opportunity for Michael to trash talk him, and beat him. And then after practice, sit down and trash talk him some more and saying, this is why I beat you. I mean, that's the way it goes.
I always thought he was coming back, but a day like that, when you saw Michael walking around, say playing golf, or he was just so fit, right? So it wasn't a physical thing, but seeing him on the basketball court and playing against, Spiro's a really good player, and he was in mid-season form. So for him to do that, I thought at that point in time, it was just a matter of time.
My take on this, Latrell was one of the more explosive, more athletic, and he was one of probably the better players during that short run that he had. So what Michael needed to know is, even I took the time off, can I still come back and kick his ass and kick this person's ass? And in his mind, he's just like, man, I've been gone from this game for how long? And he's supposed to be the top player. All right. And so he wasn't testing himself against Sprewell. He was testing himself against himself.
Jordan, the former three-time MVP, has been practicing for the last couple of days with his old Bulls club.
I had been hearing rumblings as soon as he left last Thursday.
The first thing I heard about it was yesterday afternoon, I guess.
I heard it this morning. The station called me and said there's a possibility that something going on with Jordan.
I heard about something on Monday.
Is he coming back? Is he not? Is he gauging his interest? And again, we didn't really know.
Here's what it got to be. Who could get there the earliest and camp out all day long?
It was time to go practice, and once I went to the locker room and I saw about 40, 50 pairs of Jordans at his locker, I said to myself, there's no way he's just gonna practice one practice with the 50 pairs of shoes here being ready.
So I remember the one day I catch him going in the back door, Michael. And I'm running up with my crew, and then there's some other reporters follow suit, and we're all running up there, and I'm, Michael. And he just closes the door on my mic. It's just like, Peart. Another day, we catch him coming out, and he's got to go through this little thing. And I'm like, Michael. He rolls down the window, and I stick my mic in there. He goes, hey, what's up? And I go, and I start, and he goes, watch yourself. And he puts the window up. That's it.
This is one of my jobs, is to help him craft a statement. I consider myself a good writer, and I wrote like 5 or 6 different versions, maybe 6, 7 paragraphs apiece. He read them all. He didn't like any of them. And finally he says, give me that paper. He takes them. I'm waiting to see if, figure it'll take like 10, 15 minutes. He's gonna put something together based on the different paragraphs. So he just takes out the pen and writes, I'm back. And it was majestic in its simplicity. There are certain times you don't have to explain it.
That was probably our social media right there. I'm back on the facts.
That's the most impactful 2 words ever. And nobody ever did it that way. And faxing was the email of the time. So, yeah, and it was just like Michael, too.
A quiet fax, I'm back, I'm playing this weekend, and that's it.
For us, it was just exciting, it was thrilling. When we heard he was coming back and it was official, all of a sudden, everything changed. Our horizons changed, our possibilities changed, and just the excitement of playing with the greatest player ever.
From that point on, it was like the Bulls were this American team that everybody wants to see, everybody wants to talk to. I felt we had fans literally in every single arena we played, and our fans have been dominating. And it didn't matter if we played in New York or LA or Miami or anywhere else. It was just plenty of Bulls fans.